Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Mina Sundwall about Season 3 of Lost in Space, dropping on Netflix December 1st. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, the Robinsons are back. I mean, you know, you've played Penny Robinson for 3 seasons now, so I feel like you have proper grasp of this question. What's your favorite thing about playing Penny in Lost in Space?
Oh, I admire a lot of things about her. I really love, and I've loved since the beginning, the fact that she doesn't put up a front for everybody. I mean, she doesn't fit in. She's kind of the oddball in the Robinson family. She's a writer amongst rocket scientists, and yet, even though it would be easier for her, she doesn't fake who she is for anybody's sake.
Yeah.
I love that about her, and I think that that's one of the main catalysts of her own kind of hero's journey towards the end of Season 3.
100%. And it's interesting, too, because, you know, the mindset going into 3rd season, you're used to the character, you're adapting to everything, you've played Penny for 3 seasons. When you first got casted for this, what was like the mindset like in terms of, you know, excitement, but you know, you're going to be one of the Robinsons, you know, Lost in Space was a very popular series, you know, back in the day and everything. I'm sure though, however, the excitement kind of overpowered the nerves a little bit, or was it a little bit of both? Like, what was that like when you were casted?
Yeah, when I was cast, first off, I was shocked and amazed because I really thought I'd lost it in the last audition. I was so nervous, so I was shocked. And so once I got over that, in watching the original show and in kind of understanding the scope of what this one was going to be, I knew that there was a lot that I would have to learn, and I was really excited for that. And we had some pretty big shoes to fill because the fan base of the original show is intense and wonderful, and the original show in itself is so fantastic that I was a little nervous just because when you're starting something new, and I'd never done anything this big before that I didn't know. But you're right. The excitement definitely trumped the nerves.
I feel like the general rule of thumb though, Mina, these days, because anytime something's adapted, or I don't even know, like they say reboot, remake. I always liked reimaginate, like the reimaginated. Like that's always the way I like to do it. I don't know, like I don't like that whole like back and forth everything, but I'm sure it's always gonna be there that the Lost in Space on Netflix that you star in is going to be its own thing. It's going to, you know, pay homage. It's not trying to be the old Lost in Space. Like I feel like the fans grasp that. Some might, but I feel like you see that. Like you have the old fans that love the show, but it's a whole different world. Do you agree with me a little bit with that?
Definitely. And I love this. Like our writers have always said that it's not a season 4, it's a reimagining. And they've pulled elements of the original that I think are fantastic. And, you know, they pulled the hope and the love that they share and how much they'll work together, and parts that made the show so special. But it is a different show. It is a new show. So it's not going to be identical to everything.
And I think that's a beautiful thing, because then you kind of have 2 fan bases kind of coming at once, because you'll have the original fans that they're down with it, they're excited, they want the nostalgia and everything, but you're going to have a new age of fans as well. And I see that with this series as well. So you're going to have the best of both worlds a little bit, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it when people come up and say, you know, I watched the show and then I saw what it was based on and I went back and watched the original. I love that.
That's amazing.
Especially like kids now, I mean, kids that have grown up with this version, to say, I watched this one and then I know that my parents grew up on the original, and so we watched them all both together. I love that. That's so cool.
Absolutely. So Mina Sundwall is a storyteller. That's what you do. What you're acting as Penny Robinson in Lost in Space, but you're a storyteller. And it's exciting because Season 3 is coming out. It's exciting. We have to be excited about it. My question for you now is, what excites you? What excites Mina Sundwall about being a storyteller?
Ooh, the ability to change your perspective on things. I think that's something that's important. And I think especially over the last year and a bit, we can see that our perspective is easily changed, but there's a lot that we might need to look at a little differently.
Yep.
And I love taking something that maybe everybody is looking at from one direction and saying, well, what about if we look at it from over here? What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I love sparking questions.
Yeah, it's that is very the perspectives. I love that answer. It's interesting. You always have like the same. I always ask that question because I always have different kind of perspectives. You always get like it's great to kind of tell certain stories that were not told before. You know, like you're just entering new worlds. I like that, different perspectives. I love that. It's amazing. You can kind of tie this into Lost in Space as well, but you also, you know, you star as Lita in DC's Legends of Tomorrow as well, which is pretty cool. And you know, geek culture, comic book culture, like sci-fi, like all that, it's always been popular, but one can make an argument, you know, the last 5 years even, it's exploded. Like it's become bigger and bigger. I'm curious for you specifically, Mina, when you kind of noticed that kind of shift in kind of the geek culture, the comic book culture, the DC, Marvel, all that, like when did you notice that? Like, because there has been an explosion of it, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think that it is partially due to some of the retelling of these stories, that in a similar way where people watch Lost in Space and then go back and watch the original, people watch shows and love the stories and then go back and go through the comic books again. And I think that's really cool that we're able to you know, kind of bring back things that were so loved originally and now get to be loved again. Yeah, I think that's I mean, I don't know. I think that's
absolutely. No, it's
kind of like giving my best guess here.
That's a really good one, but it's because it's interesting because there's such passionate fans. Like anytime it's something DC, anytime it's something Marvel, you know, it's cool to be a nerd these days. Like when I was growing up, it wasn't cool to be a geek. It wasn't cool to like comics books.
I love it now. I think it's fantastic.
It's so amazing and everything. So you and the cast and crew are part of the Lost in Space family, but you're also part of the Netflix family. So I'm just curious, you've been doing this for 3 seasons. What's it like being part of the Netflix family specifically?
It's really good. And I think that Netflix is like a great place for something like Lost in Space because they put a lot of care into the projects and, you know, Lost in Space is a difficult show to make. It's not necessarily a cheap show to make, and Netflix is able to give it the care and attention that it needs to look the way that it does. And it's an incredible support system. It's been really wonderful.
big teams behind those shows. Like people are like, wow, it just looks amazing. Yeah. Can we give props to like the crew and the effects? Yeah. Let's go. Like, 100%,
yeah. 100%. It is a collaboration of so many people. That a lot of the times I think people who are watching the show don't fully see it, but it is so many people who put so much time and energy into making it what it is and what it looks like and the words you hear and everything. So absolutely, props to the crew.
Absolutely. You could tailor your answer more towards season 3, or you could do in general. When people watch Lost in Space, Mina, on Netflix, what are you hoping they get out of it takeaway-wise?
In terms of an emotion, I hope that they feel a lot of joy and excitement and adventure. It's a very fun show. It's a show with a lot of hope and love, and the Robinson family fights together against everything that comes their way, and they manage to, you know, beat all of these obstacles. From a message perspective, something that's always stuck out to me, which is kind of an underlying message of the whole show, is let's take care of planet Earth.
Yep.
Because everything that they go through is because Earth is uninhabitable. So as exciting as it is to watch and as adventurous as it is, like what they're doing doesn't look very fun. So in order to avoid that reality, let's take care of this. Let's take care of planet Earth.
Oh, 100%. You know, it's such a big scale show. You know, we've interviewed Ignacio in the past for previous seasons as well. You know, there are a lot of long days on set he was talking about. It's a big process. I do have to ask, because it's bound to happen. Maybe not pranks, but is there anything funny, any inside jokes, anything you can share, you and Max? Anything happen, maybe like season 3 related, behind the scenes you can share?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Season 3 in particular, they got creative. Max had this life-size dummy doll thing that looked exactly like him. I mean, it was his face, it was his hair, it was in the spacesuit. And he would hide it in our trailers and not tell us. And we walked in, and he did it to me on my birthday. I walked into my trailer, and there's this thing in the chair, and it looks exactly like Max. And it, like, I kind of walked in and looked at it for a second. It is the creepiest thing I have ever seen. He got Toby twice, and the second time it actually was Max in the chair, and he scared Toby by getting out of the chair. I mean, honestly.
Has this been documented on video at all?
Oh, yeah, for sure it has.
Okay.
I think if you ever get a chance to talk to Max, ask him to show you the video. It was terrible, terrible thing to do.
I love how you were like, yes, there is something, season 3 specifically. I love how you did.
Because there have been pranks. There have been pranks and there have been jokes for sure, but they really got creative this year.
There's a lot of creative pranks. I asked someone that once about pranks, and they went into detail about pranks, and I was like, I need to make this like a question I ask from time to time, because I'm sure there's going to be some amazing answers to the question. But I wanted to thank you so much for coming on Pop Turner to chat about season 3 of Lost in Space. Thank you so much, Mina.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
December 1st, final season of Lost in Space. How are you feeling about that?
Good. Nervous and excited and bittersweet and lots of feelings.
A lot of emotions as well.
Good.
And where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything?
Yeah, I'm Mina Sundwall everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Amazing. Well, this has been Pop Turner. YouTube.com/Pop Turner for previous episodes. You're going to be able to catch Mina Sundwall as Penny Robinson in Lost in Space Season 3, dropping on Netflix December 1st. Until next time, this is Mina and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.